next question, I think I was going to talk about whether there's anything more that needs to be done to hasten sustainability in terms of any additional EU law or EU legislation that you might like to see. I mean, clearly down the years, what tends to happen is that all our environmental directives came out of Brussels, and we saw that impacting on policymakers, really for the last 15, 20 years or so, I think. And now I sense that the mantle is being passed to corporates a bit more to actually pick up and run with that. So I'd be interested to know whether you feel there's more of a role for legislation and policy guidance to push businesses still, or whether this is something which businesses are now expected to run with themselves rather than waiting for more carbon taxes, more taxes on emissions, more laws to force them to do things.
I think the best thing always is that let businesses come out and make business sense of what they're doing. And sustainability is a business case. So I think one needs to sensitize more and educate more to the businesses to make best use of what is available. There are adequate laws, I think, in place for now. But yes, one can always think of more. I can think immediately of some levers that could really be helpful. You see, it is always about two things. It is about incentives, and it is about penalizing. So incentivizing those who are doing what you want them to do, in this case, move towards net zero economy. Yes. And penalize those who are not coming along. So how do we do it in a way that works best? And how do we do it in a way that there are, let's say, less loopholes, that there are less chances that it will not work, or it will not, the results will be not what we envisage. One thing I can think of easily can be done is about the value-added taxation system. If you look at essential items like bread or butter, there are like different value-added taxes by something luxurious. And I think environment is not something very luxurious. It is very much essential. So we can think of applying the same thing. Say in Germany, if you have a 19% value-added tax across the board, and on the essential items, say 7%. So why not incentivize investments? In other words, why not tell to the companies, if you are investing in expanding your factory, you're buying new machines, and if you buy, let's say, A rated in terms of energy efficiency, and not only energy efficiency, but also resource efficiency as a whole, if you pack that and so you get, you can have only 7% tax, and that would probably release some burden for the end customers if the industries give that profit to the consumers, because after all, the companies don't pay the value-added tax. It's the end user that actually pays. Of course, and so we need to find a mechanism how that can work in a way that at the end of the day, consumers benefit. And once consumer benefit, I think the companies will be forced to invest in more environmental friendly technologies. And what about lowering the corporate taxes? For example, if we have, say, 30% or 35% corporate taxes as such, what about telling, okay, you will have to pay only 20% if you move from emission level now today to X? Or whenever you're making investments. So I think that is something which can be done. And another thing that can easily be done is by regulating the financial sector better. Because, as you and I both know, money talks and literally everything else walks. So when you are going to the bank and asking for money for your factory, or for starting up a business, or for expanding the existing one, the bank says, no, the law says that, say, 40% of the bank's portfolio, I would go for 100%, by the way. If that is not possible, we can always say, okay, let us start with somewhere. Let us start with, say, 40%. So 40% portfolio of whatever credit or investments that you do got to be in a certain class that is independently verifiable, so that when they give loans to the companies, they say that, okay, here, this is the requirement. So banks can easily ask those who come for borrowing money, yes, we are ready to give you that. However, if you want to expand in terms of manufacturing facilities or say mobility, you're leasing cars, for instance,
Mhm.
so it should be more environmental friendly. That is what the law says. So if you come to us to borrow money, this is what you have to fulfill. And lastly, I would say, let's be fair to the planet as a whole and not where
Yes.
we want
Yes.
to live. So applying a law that actually is for here, say for European Union,
Mhm.
should be
Yeah.
worldwide. In other words, if you are selling things in Europe, if you are a business based in Europe and you are outsourcing some of your work, say somewhere in Asia, Africa, Latin America, or wherever,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
once that product comes over here, the same criteria applies. And we know that this is the case in many other things like child labor and so on. So we can
supply chain. Yeah.
exactly, we can go for the supply chain. And when you look at that, and that will have a real impact. Otherwise, the companies, what they will do, they will stop investing over here. They will go where environmental laws are either weak or not working.
Of course.
And that's how, what I said, that we will be actually emitting more than today, but doing is just elsewhere, not in front of our homes. And I think that is not the purpose of any initiative, let alone change in legislations or coming up with new laws. They should look at all the aspects and some of the areas I have just mentioned.